95% of AI projects never make it to production. They can't scale, there's no consistency, and there's no measurable ROI. In this video, I'm going to show you my plan for what I'm going to teach you on this YouTube channel over the next few weeks of how to build a system that can scale, that is consistent, and that can make your business money. My name is Andy O'Neill, and I love to play with all things AI and automation, and we're going to dive right into this video. This video is going to be a little bit different than my typical video on this channel. I'm actually going to go through a slide deck. I'm going to talk through what I've been working on in my short hiatus from YouTube, and I'm going to show you a demo at the end of what I'm talking about, but I kind of want to lay out some theory and some groundwork before we start building and going crazy with making money with AI. What I'm going to be talking about is this idea of infinity as code, or everything as code. The idea with this, it's not new, and it's kind of an adaptation of how I'm using it in this case, but it is the idea that everything is code, and let's save everything in a code format so we can use it over and over and over again. And let's do that in a scalable way. So I want to talk about AI systems that actually work. And this is something I've been using for about 3 months now, pretty heavily. I have a friend named Cor Schutte in South Africa. This is kind of his brainchild, and we've been working on it in parallel. And so this is something that I've been able to get ideas from him, and I think we've shared some ideas back and forth on this. But I'm going to reveal this to you. It is not something I am seeing in the mainstream being talked about. Right now in the mainstream, it's knee-jerk reactions to everything AI. And quite honestly, the average small business or medium-sized business in this country, or around the world for that matter, can't do knee-jerk changing things every 2 weeks. It's just not something that's sustainable, and that's going to cost too much money. People are going to get tired and fatigued of the next new thing in their business. I'm going to show you a system that you can use and you can implement inside of a business that will be steady. It is easy to communicate with and to use. So let's jump into that. First of all, before I go any further, what I'm going to show you is experimental technology. And this is a little bit of a disclaimer. This is bleeding edge concepts. The absolutely everything is code represents emerging possibilities rather than proven methodologies. I've used it for 3 months. I have not used it for 3 years. And this content is going to show the potential capabilities of what is available now, but as we know with AI, it's just going to get better. So I just wanted to share that with you, and that's where we're going. An MIT report found that 95% of enterprise generative AI pilots fail to deliver measurable business value. It's not because of technology, but due to failures in adoption, integration, and a learning gap to use those systems. We're going to overcome all of that with the system I'm going to show you here. 95% of these AI projects never make it into production. First of all, they can't scale. They're projects that fall apart when you try to scale. Maybe they work great by themselves, but when you try to scale it across people, they don't work great. There's no consistency. You get different results every time, and there's no ROI. It's a massive investment, and there's no fruit that comes out of that investment. I want you to tell me if this AI tool trap sounds familiar. I am totally guilty of that. I've gotten over that in the last 3 months. I will tell you that because of what I'm going to show you today. You go and you need a prompt, or you need to do something with AI. So you go open ChatGPT and you type a question like you're on Google, and maybe you voice dictate it like I do, but you say, I want this. Okay. And then it generates something, and you copy and paste the result, and you probably get a generic and even inconsistent answer if you were to try to do that over and over again. And then you save it to OneNote or Evernote or a Google Doc or all the places that I've heard people say they save their prompts, and you promise yourself, I will use this again. And then you never find it again, or you never go look for it. Oh, it's just easier to ask ChatGPT again. And so you get another prompt and another prompt, and with every variation, you get more variation in your answers. This is the trap so many people fall in. I was at this point 4 months ago before I started using this and adopting this. I was like, where am I going to save my prompts? I got to figure out a better way to save my prompts. I got some really great prompts, but I never can find them. I was exactly in this trap of prompt hiatus when I couldn't find where they went, and then I had to create a new one. That has gone away for me. I know exactly where my prompts are, and I know exactly how to reuse them over and over and over again when I need them. The reason this fails, again, there's no consistency. There's no context. AI doesn't remember you and remember your business and that kind of thing. It has no memory. You can store that memory in documents to reuse over and over and over again. There's no methodology to this. These results aren't based on anything. It's just whatever AI gives you that day, and there's no scalability. You can't delegate a prompt to your team and ensure that they're using it in the best way again and again. So it's time for something new. It was time for something new for me, and I'm hoping if you're watching this, you're ready for something new as well. First of all, let's talk about 4 different things about this system. It's time for a browser simple interface. No training required. If you've asked ChatGPT something, you have all the training you need to use this new system. Natural language interaction, instant access from any device, no complex workflows, and a familiar chat experience. Most of us have used some sort of chat. I'm using Claude right now. I've used ChatGPT, Perplexity. I mean, the list goes on. I've used Abacus. There's all kinds of things out there. If you've chatted with your browser with an AI, you know how to use this. And if your team has done that, they're trained on this system already as well. Integration, this is going to plug into existing systems. It's going to give you easy access. It's going to give you MCP server or API connections, real-time data access, contextual responses based on your business or your client's business or something you specifically want. And we're going to make sure this is secure by design. Number 3, the instant value. It's going to give you immediate impact, no learning curve. Okay. So the time to the first value, once you have this set up, let's say you hand this off to a team member, 5 minutes, they're going to get value out of this system. User adoption is going to be 85% or better within a week. Task completion speed is going to be plus 60%. And again, training requirements, 0 hours, because if they've chatted with an AI, they already know how to talk to this system. All right, so let's talk about the technology really quickly. We're going to use GitHub as our secure data storage. And you can use, if you're a freelancer like me, you can use the free plan. If you want to use this with your team, it's a whopping $4 a month for the team account per person, which is really inexpensive. So the implementation cost of this is pretty low. And then the other tool is what I'm using right now is Claude AI. You can use the browser for a team role, so you'd have to have a paid account for each team member. But if you're going to administrate this, which I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit, you're going to need a paid, or you're going to need the desktop app, which gives you some additional functionality and connectivity. And this is totally subject to change. You're like, wait a minute, Andy, what if ChatGPT 17 comes out and it's better than Claude? By all means, switch. The only thing your AI requires is a connection to GitHub, okay? Your data stays in GitHub, your prompts stay in GitHub, you connect to GitHub from the next new AI, and you're good to go, okay? So that GitHub is your storage that stays the same. What I like about it is you can create branches and you can put new updates into it that you can roll back, that kind of thing. There's version control in that. But GitHub, unless something changes dramatically, GitHub won't change. The AI you connect to GitHub could change over time. All right, so let's talk about the technology and capabilities. So this is, we're going to talk about a modular framework and modular framework connection. Okay, so I've got my Claude icon on top and my GitHub on the bottom. So we actually have two-way connectivity with Claude and GitHub that we're going to talk about here. So we're going to go and we're going to talk about creating a framework. Now I have built a bunch of frameworks that are on my GitHub that are about all kinds of things. Basically, what I'm calling a framework is a authoritative document on a particular subject. I've asked Claude to go research a particular subject and do deep research on it and bring me back everything that's important about that particular topic. For example, I'm a WordPress guy, and I do a lot of WordPress SEO, local SEO, national SEO, whatever. I wanted a framework that kind of encapsulated how Yoast SEO, which is a plugin for WordPress that does SEO in WordPress, how Yoast SEO does its checks. How many H1s do you need? How many times does the keyword need to be in the text? That kind of thing. So I had Claude go out and spent several minutes researching the Yoast SEO stuff, documentation, and it brought me back this framework that is an authoritative document on how to write SEO blog posts that appease Yoast SEO on a WordPress site. Just an example. There's an unlimited number, a million of those kinds of things that you could do with Claude, but that's the example I've got here. So what you do to build that is you start with Claude and you start with a framework seed. The seed is, hey, I want you to go find Yoast SEO documentation. I'm going to show you later in this video, we're going to use a YouTube transcript as a seed. Claude is going to generate the research. AI is going to generate that framework, or Claude's going to generate that framework from the research. And then a lot of times I'll go to the next step and I will generate a prompt based on that framework. So we started at generic. We went deep research with the framework, and then we created a prompt that was based on that framework. I have actually taken prompts before that were not real high quality prompts. I wanted to use it, but it wasn't very long. It wasn't very in depth. That was my seed. So I would tell Claude, take this prompt and go do as much research about what this prompt is about as you can, and create a framework, and then recreate that prompt from the framework. And it improved that prompt significantly over what the starting prompt was. So now let's talk about modular framework stacking. So this was framework creation. So we're going from Claude to GitHub, and we're actually saving the documents from Claude to GitHub. Now we're talking about framework stacking. And so this is the business use case I want to give you to kind of help you illustrate this, okay? Business use case. Write a local SEO blog post for a medical spa client about Botox injections for WordPress, linking to the med spa service pages. So I have 7 elements in this. If you were to sit down and write a prompt from scratch to cover all of this, it would not be as good as what you would get from the frameworks that I've built. I've got 7 frameworks in there that I can use, okay? So what that looks like is, first of all, I have a local SEO framework. That's how to adapt an SEO blog post for local. Then I have a generic blog post framework. This is how you write a blog. I have my medical spa industry research. So I have a document for industry research for the industry that blog post is about. I have a medical spa client profile. Okay. So what that means is I can interchange any client profile in there and get the same results from this stacked list of frameworks, okay, or prompts. So I have the medical spa client profile. I have a compliant Botox research framework. So it's research everything there is to know about Botox, but it's only looking for authoritative places to make sure it's compliant, I have that Yoast SEO framework that I talked about. And then I have a client website sitemap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What that will give me is a local SEO blog post for a medical spa client, a particular medical spa client, about Botox injections for a WordPress site, naturally linking to the med spa service pages. All of these 7 frameworks and or prompts work together in parallel to build or to write that SEO post. You can probably see from this that stack of frameworks and prompts will beat, hands down, sitting down and trying to write this prompt from scratch every time, okay? So what I do in Claude is I pull in these, in this example, 7 frameworks, and some of these will be prompts as well. I will create both, and I pull those into a Claude project. So I only have to set that up one time, and then I can come back to it. Every time I want to write a local SEO blog post for a medical spa client about Botox for WordPress, naturally linking to the spa service pages, I can use that same project over and over and over again because it is set up to do this particular task with those stacked frameworks. All right, so I'm going to go to the live demo now. I want to show this to you. What I'm going to do, here's my use case for this. This is Caleb Olku's YouTube channel. He is one of the local SEO guys I follow. He has a school community as well. And so what I want to do is, he has this video that came out and said, I can rank a new business in 14 days. And when I do it, people think I've hacked Google. And I'm like, that sounds like a great framework to have in my digital knowledge repository in GitHub. Okay. Our business use case is to use Claude AI to create a local SEO framework for ranking a business in 14 days and save it on GitHub for later use. Now, how might I use this? Hey, I got a new SEO client. I'm going to grab this framework. I'm going to grab some website data, give it a link to the website. I'm going to say, here, go tell me out of this checklist, what are the things that need to be done for this website? Okay. So I'm over here in YouTube and I'm on this video and I have this really cool copy YouTube transcript plugin. It's an extension for my Google Chrome browser. And I've got the options here. What I check is show title, show URL, and that's about it. Okay. So I'm going to copy to clipboard and it's going to let me know it's copied. And now I'm over here in my Claude desktop app. I actually have a Claude project called Framework Builder. So I built a framework to build frameworks. We will look at that on another time. But this project is all about how to build frameworks. So I'm going to ask it to build a framework. All right, build a framework from this YouTube video transcript. I'm going to paste that transcript in there. I have documents here that actually define how this works. So here is my website framework extraction template. These are all templates for how to run this project to build a framework. So this is really all I have to do. And I've got this in here. I've got the paste it in here. I'm going to turn on deep research. Go. Okay, so my framework has completed here in Claude what I want to do. And it asks me, would you like me to save this framework to your knowledge repository? Yes, I actually do want it to do that. So I'm going to say yes, it here. So I've given it a name here. I've told it where to save it and we're going to hit enter. And so what that's going to do is it's actually going to save it to my local desktop. I have a extension in my Claude desktop that allows it to connect. I've given it specific directories it can connect to. We're going to talk about that topic at a later date, but it's saving it over here and it's writing the file. Okay, so it is saved. That just took a few moments here. It tells me exactly where it's saved to that directory here. Local SEO 14-day ranking system, and it's got Caleb's name on it, and that's exactly what I told it to save it at. So that's actually a markdown file. We're going to leave that there for now. We're going to push it to GitHub on the web in just a little bit, but I want to tell Claude to go ahead and make this a prompt. Turn this framework into a comprehensive prompt for giving me a checklist on how to rank a website in 2 weeks. Allow me to upload any information that was used in this framework and in this YouTube video script. I want to upload those documents along with this and get an analysis of my checklist for completing this task. All right, I'm going to hit enter. We're going to wait a little bit longer. All right, so the prompt is still running, but right here is my required inputs. I was a little vague when I asked it because I hadn't looked at the framework, but I knew there was some things required. So right here is the required inputs. Website URL, Google Business Profile URL, business information, Screaming Frog export, current ranking data, competitor analysis, and budget parameters. So those are the things that are required for this prompt to run and to give it the data to give you that checklist to rank supposedly in 14 days. All right, so the prompt is finishing up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to push this over to my local storage again. Here, use the same name as the framework, but add prompt to the end of the file name. All right, so that's going to get saved. I do save frameworks and prompts in a different directory. That's totally up to you how you organize it. That's just how I've organized it. Great thing about GitHub is when I go connect this to a project, it's easily searchable. So I can just type Caleb or local SEO or whatever, and that stuff will appear. All right, so right here it is. Good, local, and it added prompt to the end. All right, so the next thing I need to do is I've launched my GitHub desktop app. And so the way this works is I have a repository on my local machine and a matching repository in GitHub. So you see right here, we have 2 documents. It says 2 changed files. That's correct because we just added 2 files to my local system. So what we're going to do is push this to GitHub and merge it into our repository there. So let's push it to my knowledge repo. If we go right here to docs and frameworks, we should be able to find local SEO right there. There it is. So now it's on the web. And if I go up here to my AI agents folder, you can see it right there. There's our prompt. So they are now on the web. And what that means is if I jump back over into Claude Desktop, let's say I wanted to create a project with those files. And we're going to get more into this later. But if I just kind of spin up a project here to show you a test YouTube 15 days and create a project, what I can do is right here in my project files. Now, if I had files here, that's for that particular prompt, and sometimes I will do that. But in this case, I want to add project files to this, and so I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to connect to GitHub. I'm going to type right here and go say Caleb, and right here is the local 14 day and this local 14 days, so I can click here and add files. Now these documents are always a part of this project. So I can come back to this project in a day or a week or a month. This project will already be set up to do that. We're going to talk about project setup later on. There's some more steps we want to do when we create a project, but this is just kind of giving you an idea of where we're going. So now this project is set up. The cool thing is if you have a team using this and you're on the Teams account for Claude, you can actually share out these projects as read-only, so to speak, where they can use them or edit them as a part of your team. And then your team could actually access the knowledge repository. And when they do it from the web, all they can do is read. So they could create a project, add files to that, and create their own projects for manipulating data, or you could share projects out with them that are preset with certain amounts of data. There's so much more I want to tell you about this. I've got to stop so this video doesn't become 2 hours because I'm pretty passionate about this and I love doing this. Are we going to have some Make automation elements to this? Absolutely, down the road for sure. We're going to use the MCP server with Make to do that. Are we going to build some more cool things? Am I going to show you how to build a project for building projects and a project for building frameworks? Yes, that is definitely on the roadmap. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to do a foundational GitHub setup. I'm going to give you access to my seed repository for GitHub, where you can copy that into your GitHub account and get started. I'm going to get you up and running as quickly as possible. In the meantime, if you want to get a free GitHub account, go ahead and do that. Set up your profile, start to get familiar with that. Maybe go watch some videos on GitHub account setup if you're not familiar with that. I wasn't until 3 months ago because I'm not a coder. GitHub is typically something that code creating people deal with in versioning and that kind of thing. We're not running websites off this code, but it is code that can run your business. So go grab a GitHub account, go grab you a Claude account. I am on the $99 a month account. You do not need that. You just might run out of processing and have to wait a few hours before that resets to keep going. The $20 account is fine. I would go ahead and get the paid account, the $20 account at a minimum. I look forward to creating more videos. I'm excited about this. I will stop now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.